Hello, today I'm gonna read part 2 of this book that's called Amazing, and I'm at chapter 4, so I'm gonna read this book and I'm gonna read to chapter 7, Peter's Sleepover. I'm gonna read to there, okay? Now I'm gonna read. Chapter 4, Sam's Sleepover. Sam was the next of them to have a birthday. "Come to my party," said Sam. He thundered into the playground with his new birthday bongo drums under one arm. "Come to my party, but bring your own food if you like, because my dad will be going to cooking. Here, have a bash on my new drums, Peter. Harder than that, harder than that, harder than that. Oh, don't bother." "What's the matter with your dad's cooking?" asked Peter as he handed back the bongo drums as quickly as he could. "My dad," Sam went on, "is an awful cook. His cooking is black. My dad makes black pancakes. In fact, he can only make black pancakes. And when he makes them, he says, eat them up, eat them up. Black is good for you." "Well, that's better than my dad," said Greg. He turned his basketball into a bongo drum to be the same as Sam. "Black pancakes sound pretty good cooking to me. Once my dad made my mom a birthday cake, and in the cake, all mixed up and cooked, we found a wad of kitchen roll and the candle holders, the old color. The real cat's color?" asked Peter. "The real cat's color with bells on," said Greg. "That's nothing," said Jacob. "My mom makes old bone soup." "What?" "Bone soup, what?" "White shooter, everyone. She gets old bones," Jacob started to say. "How old they shoot, and really old. She gets really old bones from her old bone bag." "What?" "Your mom has an old bone bag?" asked Peter. "I promise you, my mom has an old bone bag," said Jacob. "He gets them from inside roast chickens, and she keeps them in the freezer, and when she got lots of them, she boils them up for soup. Old bone soup. What does it taste like?" asked Sam and Greg and Peter. "It tastes terrible," said Jacob. "It tastes awful. It tastes like old bone soup." Peter walked home trying to think of a story worse than the black pancake story and the birthday cake story and the old bone soup story, and he couldn't. His mouth cakes that nothing aside and mixed up inside. Then her pancakes were only brownish. Her soup came out of dins. "It's not fair," thought Peter. And then it was the day of Sam's sleepover. Sam's dad cooked pancakes that were so black that even strawberry jam and chocolate spread didn't cover up the crispy bits, and he said, just as Sam had said, he could eat them. I cooked them specially. Sam asked me to, and anyway, black is good for you." No. Yeah. Sam's dad cooking was the worst that Peter had ever had. Peter knew his mom could never make anything even half as bad. He lay awake all night thinking, Mom is boring, Gran is boring, and I'm the most boring of all. He was so unhappy he wished he could go home, but no one ever went home from sleepovers in the middle of the night, no matter what it said in the innovations. Chapter 5, Jacob's Sleepover. Chapter 5, Jacob's Sleepover. Jacob's birthday was in November. He swooped into the playground on his skateboard and spun around Sam and Greg and Peter. It's my birthday at last, he sang in a voice like an angel, and my sleepover tonight. It will be fantastic. You can see my new hamster that it only got last week. He smells so terrible that we've had to buy himself an air freshener. He smells a bit like shoes and a bit like rubbish bins and a bit like fish, but worse. Maybe you need to clean him out more, said Peter. We clean him out every day, sang Jacob sweetly. It's the hamster that smells, not the cage. Cleaning out doesn't always work, said Greg. We clean out our fish all the time, but the water is always green and always smells the cabbage, and the faster the fish swim, the worse it is. In fact, you can see the fish making the brand new clean water go green. Well, said Sam. Well, wait till you hear this. Our dog glows in the dark. What? Shooted everyone. Our dog gives off a gas so strong and so stinky that he glows in the dark. And we took him to a vet because we were worried that he'd catch fire, and the vet said it's perfectly normal. Your dog is not catch fire, but try to keep him in the shade, not on hot days, because he may get a bit smoky. Then all the boys looked at Peter because he was his turn to tell a smelly pet story. Peter looked at them and he opened his mouth. What? Asked Greg. Go on, what does your pet do? Peter closed his mouth again, but put his hands in his pockets and walked away. What did we say? Asked Sam. Nothing, said Greg. What did he think? We said. Nothing, said Jacob. What is he thinking then? Nothing, said Greg. Jacob's sleepover was fantastic, and the hamster was the star. They took him to bed with them, but had to put his cage out of the room in the middle of the night because he smelled so terrible. Told you so, said Jacob, and opened the window. Peter went home and sniffed things. We sniffed his cat. He sniffed his cat and his mom and his gran, who was there for tea. Do you think there's anything wrong with my nose? He asked his mom. Why should there be? His mom said, you don't smell right, explained Peter. I mean, you smell. I'm not saying you don't smell. In fact, you smell quite strong. Okay. Stronger than the cat. You just don't smell amazing, if you know what I mean. Peter thinks so. But Peter, I think you've said enough, said Peter's mom. So Peter went quiet again. Quiet and quiet still, and nearly his birthday. Chapter 6. Before Peter's sleepover, Greg and Sam and Jacob had talked about their birthdays for weeks before Peter didn't say a word about his. He hoped they would all forget They didn't. 2 weeks till your birthday, Peter, said Jacob. Peter tried to look like he hadn't heard. Then 7 days later, 1 week till your birthday, said Sam. As if I didn't know, thought Peter. After that, it was 6 days. I thought I cooked pizza. Everyone always likes pizza. Said Peter's mom. Pizza thought Peter the most boring food on the planet. 5 days. Pizza, chips, ice cream, and cake. Birthday cake, of course. My worst sort of cake, thought Peter. With that sort of food, said Peter's mom, I don't think anything can go wrong. And nothing will go wrong, thought Peter. He felt very lonely. What's the matter? Asked his mom. I'm just trying to say Peter. I'm just trying to remember. Only it's hard because you've cooked so much for so long. And lots of times I just eat and don't notice it. I'm just trying to remember the worst thing, the worst awful thing. The most disgusting thing you ever cooked. I don't know why I bother, said Peter's mother. Don't bother, Peter put in so as to be helpful. I'm going to bother, said Peter's mother, and you are going to put up with it. That is that. Now bed. So Peter went to bed, and when he woke up, it was only 4 days till his birthday. 4 days. Better get your bedroom tidy, said Peter's mom. 3 days. I've got an idea, said Peter's gran. You can bring your friends around to my house for bedtime. Hot chocolate. I like to see them. Yes, but then they will see you, thought Peter. The thought made him so worried that he asked his gran a very difficult question. He didn't want to ask the question, but he had to just in case. Gran, said Peter, do I have a hearing? Don't forget it. I'm going. I only thought maybe. So I tell the other boys. Do you have a hairy chest? Peter's gran said she did not have a hairy chest. She did in a very cross way. She said other things to which Peter didn't hear because he ran away. He shouted, "No, please don't show me while he was still saying that. I got 2 days. Everything out in Rachel, said Peter's mom. I will drop them on the way to school, planned Peter. And I've telephoned their mothers, Peter groaned. And they all say, yes, thank you, lovely. And then there was only the day left, and Peter had to face that fact that Greg and Sam and Jacob were coming to his house for a sleepover party, where they could meet his gran and his mom and his non-stinky cat, and they would know forever and ever how totally boring he was, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. That was all. Wait. That was all for this book. I'm gonna read part 3 tomorrow, and bye-bye.